Okay, there's a couple finishing touches we need to make. One is to put in our folio. Okay, so the folio again is that zone for the page number. The best place to do that is on the master pages. Okay, so let's open our pages panel and double click into our A master. There we go. Okay, and now we can just go ahead and put this in here, which is going to allow us to repeat it on every page. Okay, so let's zoom into that zone. And I'm just going to do a pretty standard style here. So I'm going to drag out a text box here. And then remember that we want to use a variable for our page number. We don't want to just type in page 58 because that will make it so we have to type in a different page number for every page. So we want that to be automatic. So let's go ahead and right click and go over to Insert Special Character, Markers, and Current Page Number. Okay, that's going to put in the letter A, and remember that is because we're on the A master, so it's going to say A, but it actually is going to change to whatever the page number is. Okay, so remember we always want the page number on the outside, so I'm going to go ahead and just move that over. And I think it's going to work better to use our sans serif for this, so I'm going to go to din next, and let's make that the bold weight. Okay, oops, and I accidentally used the slab serif. So let me change that back to the regular din. There we go. Okay, you want your page numbers to be pretty small. I think 9 is actually maybe a little bit on the big side, so I'm going to go down to 8. And then let's go ahead and put in some running copy as well. So maybe we put in the name of our magazine, which is textual. There we go. And then let's put in a few spaces to kind of help space that out. Okay, I'm going to increase the leading of, the tracking of these characters just a bit. And maybe for this text, I'll actually go down to maybe the lightweight. Okay, I like that. Oops, I like that sort of weight shift. I think that that's helping, give this a little bit more visual interest. And there's a lot you can do with these folios. Definitely explore. I'm keeping it pretty simple in this demo. You could put a line to separate these two things. You could put some kind of line above. That could be pretty interesting. Lots of different things you can do. So definitely get in there and look at your inspiration and try out some really cool ideas. Okay, so right now we have this place right below the margin. We're actually going to want to bring it down a good amount more because we want some space between that margin and that folio. So we want that folio to live pretty much in that bottom zone. Okay, so I think that's going to be about right. Let's put one more space in here to get a little bit more room. And you could use tabs instead of space. If you use spaces, this piece is always going to move around depending on how long that number is. If you use tabs, it's always going to stay the same, and the gutter between them is actually going to change depending on how long the page number is. So those are just kind of two different ideas. It's going to change the way that sort of acts for your magazine. Okay, so that looks good. We want to repeat this on the other side. So let me go ahead and copy it, holding down Option and Shift to make a copy and keep it on the same line. Okay, and that's aligned to that margin. In this case, we want it to come to the outside. So let's go to our paragraph settings and change this to left alignment. Okay, and we still have our first line indent in there, so let's go ahead and take that out. We don't want that first line indent. We'll take it out of here. It's not actually doing anything in this case because the indent is over on this side, but still going to take that out just because it's not really necessary. Okay, and so let's go ahead and put our page number in here. So I'm going to copy that and put it over on this side. And I'm also going to copy these spaces and put that over here as well. And then I can just delete it on this side. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Maybe what we should do is, instead of having textual magazine on both sides, we can change one of the sides to say something else. So maybe we'll make this February 2019. Okay, just to make it a little bit different on both sides. Okay, so that looks pretty good for a basic folio. Let's go back to our pages over here. You can see that that appeared and it did put in our page number automatically. You'll notice that on this side, the page number is underneath the image. So if I move that image out of the way, it is there, but it's being covered up by the image, and that's totally fine. If you want, you could have the page number come over, but by default, it's good to actually have the image cover that up. And the same thing is happening on this feature start as well. The page number is there, but we're not able to see it because it's being covered up by that image. If for some reason, the image wasn't covering that up and you didn't want it to be there, you could always go ahead and drag none into that page, and that's going to make it go away because it's no longer going to apply whatever is on the A master to that page. But in this case, it's okay for it to be there because it is being covered up by that image. Okay, so that looks good. Another thing that we could do to just add a finishing touch to this is put in something called a drop cap. Okay, drop caps are really common. It's basically making the first capital letter really large, and it helps us, helps the viewer kind of get led into the article and know where to start. Okay, so InDesign actually has an automatic feature to help you create drop caps really easily. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put my cursor in this first paragraph. Okay, and then in paragraph styles, we already have a paragraph style for body copy. Let me create a new paragraph style. Okay, and remember, I'm assigning that to this first paragraph. And this one I'm going to call drop cap. Okay, and I do want that to be based on the body copy because I just want this to be a little bit different of a style. And we're just going to make a couple changes. So first change I'm going to make is take out the first line indent because this is the beginning of the article, so we don't need that indent to be there. And then I'm also going to go down to here where it says drop caps and nested styles. Okay, so up here in drop caps, if we go ahead and change lines, you can see that putting this to 4 lines is going to actually make the first capital the same height as the first 4 lines of text. Okay, so you can create a really extreme drop cap by going up to like 7 lines, or if you go down to 2 lines, it's going to be a really subtle drop cap. So that's up to you. Let's go ahead and make it pretty big. We'll go 4 lines maybe. Okay, that looks good. And then the other thing you could do is you can actually style this character different than the rest of the text. So maybe we want to bring in the din. Okay, so I can select that character, and then let's go to character, and we can actually change this to the din and make it whatever weight we want. Okay, so maybe I want it to be bold condensed, for instance. Okay, that's going to look a little bit more dramatic. And maybe I even want to change that to the green color. Okay, and then what I can do is just go ahead and select this, and we'll make a character style out of that style that we created. Okay, and we'll call this drop cap. Okay, so that is just a character style for that one character. And then what we can do is in the paragraph style for the drop cap, okay, and then if we go back down to drop caps and nested styles, we can actually assign that character style to the drop cap automatically. Okay, so that's going to just automatically apply that style. So if I go in here and I want a drop cap on this paragraph, I can go ahead and assign that, and it's going to automatically make that a drop cap and apply that character style to it as well. Okay, in this case, I don't want that to be a drop cap, so I'm going to change it back to the regular body copy. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Last thing I want to do is just look for kind of oddities in the text. So one thing that I'm noticing here is this is a widow. So I'm going to go ahead and use a shift return to bring the next line down. Okay, and then I also have like the start of a paragraph here, which I don't really like. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. There we go. All right, so that's looking good.